This is Norway, just ahead of Sweden and Denmark. It is one of the coldest countries in the world. The absolute lowest temperature measured at official weather stations on the mainland is -51.4 degrees Celsius. The sun only shines for 2 hours in 6 months of the year. Around the boundary of Norway, Sweden is on the east side and Denmark is on the south. Norway was the poorest country among the 3 Scandinavian kingdoms, Denmark and Sweden. Basically, it is a pile of rock. The topsoil in Norway is thin. Only around 7% of the land is suitable for agriculture compared to Denmark, where almost 70% of the land is agricultural, which is far greater than Norway. The mountains and deep valleys, making it hard to create large efficient farms. Norway's economy was based on agriculture, fishing and timber. Due to topography and climatic conditions, the communities were dependent on fishing and foreign trade. But despite all these odds, Norway, with its population of 4.6 million, is today 14th wealthiest nations in the world, measured as GDP per capita and in capital stock. It raised a lot of questions: how Norway became one of the largest economies? How 70% of the people of Norway became rich? How does it become the economy of $1.36 trillion? What can other countries like Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, India can learn from Norway? The answers to these questions are very difficult because Norway has achieved this with years-long planning. But today in this video of real-life tale we will explain to you how Norway became a rich country. This is going to be a very important video, and to find the answers of these questions we have to go back in the past 200 years from now. Norway gained independence from Denmark in 1814 after 417 years. After getting independence, Norway's people started working on the exports of agriculture, fishing and timber. During World War I and II, Norway exported agricultural foods and wood to Germany, France and Italy. The outbreak of World War brought new opportunities for Norway. During World War there was shortage of food items and wood in the British, so it gives Norway the opportunity to increase their exports. This caused a boom for Norwegian shipping. Shipping from Norway to Britain paid 8 times more than before the war. Coal exports from Norway to France fetched at 12 times higher rate. These exports were very positive for Norway's economy. On the 25th of February 1958, when natural gas reserves were found in the Netherlands, most people speculated that oil reserves could be located in the North Sea near Norway. A letter from the Geological Survey of Norway to the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the chances of finding oil off the Norwegian coastline were negligible. In March 1965, Norway started selling exploration drilling licenses. Phillips Petroleum purchased an exploration license and began drilling. Try after try they found nothing, so Phillips gave it the last try, which will go deeper, and in 1969 the first found oil was extracted from the North Sea and was in massive quantity. Later in the last minutes of the video you will also know how Norway managed to remain rich after getting rich and what's their future planning. Norway was quickly producing more oil per resident than any other country. The oil sector was becoming a booming industry in Norway. Over the 4 or 5 years, Norway's economy had massively transformed and changed itself from fishing to the oil industry. Thousands of new jobs were created. With the blessing of oil, Norway was transforming itself from an economy based on fishing to an oil-based economy that would bring billions of dollars into the economy. Within no time, Norway increased their production to millions of barrels per day. Now, Norway is the 12th largest oil-producing nation in the world. It is the 5th largest oil exporter and the 3rd largest gas exporter. Norway's economy ranked 14th in the Economic Freedom Index. The worth of every citizen of Norway is about $250,000. Beside this, Norway is one of the most beautiful places on this planet. It has fascinating history, stunning cities, rich culture, and wonderful people. It also has a high standard of living with high levels of human development. In Norway, the life expectancy for men is 81 years and for women is 84 years, which ranks 17th in the world. This longevity of life is because of improved economic growth and a quality healthcare system. It continues to rank highest in the happiness index along with Sweden and Denmark. If you visit Oslo, you will find plenty of jobs in the telecommunications and technology sector. Additionally, the poverty rate is extremely low and Norwegian citizens enjoy free education. The wage rate is extremely high in Norway. The gap between poor and rich is significantly smaller. So, that's why everyone is happy there. So, the most important question is, what is the trick that Norway manages to remain rich after getting rich, and what is their strategy to run the country? On the 14th of June 1971, the Norwegian Parliament voted to establish a state-owned oil company, Statoil, and the Norwegian Petroleum Directorate as the industry regulator. It gave Norway power and benefits over the profit that it would earn from its oil. The main concern was to produce more profit from the profit of the oil industry. So, Norway was reluctant to spend all the money it was earning from oil revenues because it knew oil won't last forever. Norway wanted to find a way to secure its wealth when the oil ran out. Norway learned a valuable lesson at that time and started working on this plan. When an economy is at the mercy of a single commodity price, it can make the economy highly unstable as the price of a commodity moves up or down. The solution was to diversify and stabilize the economy. In 1995, the government established a sovereign wealth fund, also known as the Government Pension Fund of Norway, funded with oil revenues. Most oil-rich countries like Iran remain poor because they started spending more today than saving for tomorrow. There are many countries with large oil exports, but little or no money saved. In 2018, Norway exported 1.2 million barrels of oil per day, making it the 12th biggest exporter of oil in the world. And for instance, Angola exported 1.4 million barrels per day, a lot of oil, but they still don't have the sovereign wealth equal to Norway's wealth. It seems there is something else needed than natural resources to create a wealthy country. Norway knows that oil will not be there forever. It is a limited resource. They have to stabilize their economy and eliminate oil dependence if they want to remain wealthier in the long term. So, they began to invest in the stock market and financial markets around the world. Norway has done this by storing its money in the world's largest sovereign wealth fund. In simple terms, this is a giant savings pot which makes money by investing in more than 9,000 companies. This plan has produced so much wealth that it is currently worth around $1 trillion. So, when the oil reserve is no longer, they could depend on their $1 trillion fund, the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. Norwegian law restricts the government from withdrawing funds funded by oil revenue because that money is for the people of Norway. The government can only withdraw a 3% return earned by a fund during a year. That's why Norway gets so rich, and many other oil-rich economies remain poor. Norway is a perfect example of a person who wins a lottery, and instead of spending all the money today, he saves and puts it in the financial market to grow the money slowly and steadily. This method may be dull for most people, but it is the most effective way to build wealth and remain wealthier in the long term. The politicians of Norway have also played an important role in the development of the country. They have done something smart. In many countries, new governments and politicians spend more to give more wealth to the people to make a way for the new elections, which in the long term would decrease the value of the fund and take away its purpose. But in Norway there is luckily a broad agreement among politicians to stay on course and stick to the plan. If you find this video knowledgeable till now, then hit the like button and kindly subscribe to the channel, as it takes a lot of energy and time to make this type of videos. So, for the planning of the future, Norway's buffer fund allows the country to maintain a highly diversified economy. It prepares for the future when, inevitably, the oil will run dry. Oil experts say the oil could run out in another 50 years, but that natural gas reserves should last longer, another 100 years at least. But no one knows for sure. Some other oil experts, like Chasm, estimate the oil could run out in as little as 30 years and gas in 50. Tell me in the comments section below, what are the other countries that are improving like Norway? So, now for the conclusion. One of the reasons why most oil-rich countries remain poor is that they tend to spend more today and save less for tomorrow. They made their economy heavily dependent on oil, and any downturn in the oil prices takes their economy into crisis. So, it is necessary for the other oil-producing countries to work on the strategy of Norway, so when oil runs out they will have a big amount of money for survival. If you want to settle in Norway in the near future, then Norway is really a wonderful country to live a happy life. Kindly share this video with your friend and tell us in the comments section on which topics you want to watch more videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This is all for today. We'll meet in the next video. Take care.